Stand by. In 3, 2, 1.
Reality. Are you living it?
You are a function of this total galaxy, bounded by the Milky Way, and that furthermore, this galaxy is a function of all other galaxies.
Our reality.
The show that will stretch your consciousness and awaken you to a world of unlimited possibilities. It's time to change the world. It's time for an awakening. It's time for Our Reality. Hosted by your emissary to planet Earth, Violeta Frankovic.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Our Reality, where every week we have amazing guests that expand our consciousness. And this week, boy, do we have a very, very special guest. My guest today is Anna Brown, and she's actually an Ascension way shower. She's a gatekeeper and intuitive energy healer, whose mission is to be the bridge in assisting light beings into the new earth realms. With her unique gifts and mastery skills, Anna is here to empower and support those who are ready for divine remembrance and the embodiment of the beloved I Am. Hi, sister. How are you?
Blessings, Violeta, and blessings to all angels joining us in this beautiful now. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for creating this space.
Oh, that's beautiful. Amen. Yes. Welcome, angels. We're definitely happy to have them. So, honey, right off the bat, I'm amazed by everything you have to say on social media. That's why I had to have you on the radio. I mean, it seems like you're right on time. We're going through an awakening on Earth. You're teaching us about Heart Center. Tell me about it. What's happening currently? Where are we going from here?
All right. So, yes, we are all in a planetary shift, guys. We are these anchors for the new earth realm. So if you followed my work enough, I talk a lot about us being grid keepers. We're going through this massive shift in consciousness where we're all realizing our divine self. So it's not just one of us awakening, you know, like in the past we had Jesus and all these beautiful masters awakening. Now we're awakening in the masses. Thank God. So we have these networks together to assist each other in awakening. So we are remembering who we are as part of the cosmic thread, part of the cosmic fabric. We're going back into unity consciousness, back into oneness, realizing we are all the divine in disguise. So we're making this shift from the third to the fourth into the fifth dimension, which is really just the beginning. It's this multi-dimensional quantum space of heart-centered consciousness, because heart-centered consciousness, the opening of the heart stargate, if you will, is where polarities unify. It's where duality ends, and it's the beginning of the birth of our divinity into form.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's all happening in the physical. So it seems almost like, you know, like as if you were driving on a roller coaster sometimes, right? I mean, for some of us.
Oh my. Oh yeah. The awakening process. It can be challenging. You know, we're going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. It's going to get a little weird. This is the evolution of a species. You're going to feel stuff. You're going to experience stuff because this is happening through our genes. This is DNA based. So of course we're going to feel things. We're going to have breakdowns and breakthroughs because we're evolving into this luminous light being, that which we forgot. So yeah, we're going to have a little turbulence on the way, right?
Absolutely. I mean, everything you're saying, it really resounds like yes. And, you know, I've been trying through my shows also to just, you know, have our guests share with us how we can survive all this, how we can thrive in this changing environment, because the location no longer is just the physical locations. Like you just said so excellently, we're like in shifting time and space continuums, and where are we? You know, it doesn't seem like we're in a location anymore to me.
Right.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Oh, totally. And if you have found this, you're totally in the fourth dimension. Otherwise, this would not even be magnetized into your consciousness, right? So it's kind of like, you know, when you wake up, you're out of the third, but you're in the fourth. I call the fourth dimension kind of like the spiritual washing machine, where you're really like working out all the unconsciousness, because this is really about the embodiment. This is being your God self in form. This is about bringing divinity into form, right? Bridging the world literally through our DNA. So the best thing to do, guys, step one is bringing more presence, more nonlinear consciousness into your reality, because that's step one. If you don't know who you are beyond mind and body, you will constantly get lost in the world. You will constantly get lost in thought forms, even if they're higher vibe thought forms. You'll just get lost in the mind space in the body. You'll get lost in all of this. So it's imperative that you have a strong observing consciousness, because it all begins in that space of observation to know what is true and what is not for you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense. So being also, I hear you talk about the heart space a lot. That's an important thing. Allow your heart to make decisions for you. Allow your heart to express itself, or because we always come from the background. I mean, and I feel like you made a correct analysis. I feel like 4th dimension, of course, and I feel like I've shifted. Like I feel like 9 years ago I was higher than now, and then I was like, and then back. It seems like it goes back up and down depending on what you're doing and what you're being, like you said in your videos, right? So
right.
So I hear you talk about the heart center a lot. Now, a lot of us are feeling like we're beings from a different star, and I've heard you also talk in an angelic language like that. I have also spoken, and tell me more about this whole awakening for you, and what is it? So we're alien beings here with humanoids. What's going on here?
Yeah, so let's go back to that first question about the heart center, because that's really the whole ascension is through the heart portal. It's heart stargate, heart, right? That's where you got to start. You're not going to ascend. I mean, you can only ascend to a certain point. You can only awaken to a certain point until you have heart coherence. Okay, friends? This is very important to know. You can only get to a certain point, because the God self, or the Christ self, the unified self, comes through the heart chakra. Okay, This is oneness or unity consciousness, and it goes just beyond like, okay, love, whatever. It's got to be open, because when the heart chakra opens, your field expands. Okay, you're not in stress, you're not in consciousness, you're not in lack, you're not in victimhood anymore. So therefore, when you're in coherence, which means you are operating from your mind and your mind and your heart are unified. You're working together. You're not operating out of fragmentation anymore. You're coherent. Your DNA starts to come online, okay? Because we're in a 2-strand DNA, okay? That's duality, but we have far much more than that, 12-strand and higher, which gives us that multidimensional experience. So to begin the ascension process, or to even begin to go quantum or into that unified state, open our heart center, because that is your start. Literally, it's a portal, right? So this is why that's all I talk about is the heart chakra, because without it being opened, you're going to stay in the lower realms. With the heart open, you're going to start to experience those spaces of unconditional love, of unity, of bliss, of selfless service and compassion, right? And so that answers the question of the heart center, of really why that's so imperative and important. If people are going to ask, well, what about all the other chakras? The 7 chakra system is really a 3rd and 4th dimensional belief system. We have far more chakras than that, guys. And when your heart chakra opens, all of the other chakras collapse into a single field of light. Sorry for the stutter there.
Wow.
So it collapses, and that's your ascension column, if you will. This pillar of light that happens once the heart opens. Okay, so leading into your question about star seeds, star beings. Yes. So there's many beings here who are what you would say like the volunteer souls. Dolores Cannon wrote about this in her book, The 3 Waves of Volunteers. Basically beings who are from ascended planetary systems who volunteered to come down, forget who they were, right? Because we had to forget. We came into bodies and we're like, who the hell am I? I don't even know. I'm a human. What? And so we had to go through the same process of awakening, but we remember so much more, or we can, it's not a hierarchy, because the human will go into better, who's worse. There's no hierarchy. It's just your soul's experience, right? So we're here to assist in this planetary consciousness so that Gaia can go back into the Galactic Federation. We can have interdimensional travel. Beings can come land on our planet without people freaking out or thinking we're being attacked. So we're returning to unity. We're ascending this planet so that we can have all of this kind of galactic contact without it being taboo and weird, right?
Yeah, so we're like the UN or the UNICEF of the galaxy.
Right. Exactly right, sister. Exactly.
That's kind of exciting. And plus we had to, of course, forget, which, I talk to 2 types of people right now, star beings. A star being that's, like fully awakened, and a star being that goes, oh my God, I will never do this again. And me, I shift between the both. And I'm like, yeah, today I will never do this again. And tomorrow, I'm like, woohoo, I'm here, liberation. So I know that a lot of us are feeling that way. Yeah. Yeah. And and so when we're feeling like, oh my gosh, I will never do this again, what do? Go back to the heart?
Yes, because I've been there many times where I'm like, beam me up, Scotty. I'm done. I'm out.
Yep.
I'm out of here. Put another soul in this body because I'm out. Okay, and that's just the part of us that feels abandoned or neglected. But we have to remember, folks, we signed up for everything we're experiencing, which means we can do this. If our soul signed up for this, that means we can do this. It's just our human aspect, which is the unconscious ego, does not believe that, which is why my work is all about training the avatar. We're here to train the human. You don't need training. Your human does. And so that's why we do all of the reprogramming of the subconscious. We open our heart chakras. We're practicing elevated emotions despite circumstances, because that's what's training your human. Your soul's good. Your soul's awake and aware. The human is not.
Wow. It's a lot to process. You're right, though. You're right. So when I picture planet Earth right now, and like you said, maybe picturing it in a quantum field instead of just the physical. But when I picture it and I see, and that's what has been told to me when I was 6 years old, when I finally, the first time I got transmission, and I'm like, am I here alone? They're like, nope, there's brothers and sisters all over the planet, and they're going to start beaming up like lights. Like it's almost like a veil that you guys are going to pierce, and there's going to be light on Earth. And I was like, exciting, and now here you are, and here you all are. And it feels like on Earth, like, these outdated thinking patterns, it feels like, I've seen billionaires who are like quitting their luxury lifestyle, doing something different, helping humanity, understanding that it's no longer, just a rat race. And then we have, researchers like David Icke and you and people, who are just bringing this knowledge people can use. What do you see for the planet? Do you see also the energies maybe that have been controlling it, shifting, or transforming, or are we not concerned about them? We're just gonna do,
Yeah. So what I can suggest to all beings is to maintain focus on your ascension and to not ignore but disregard the external of what's happening on a collective scale, because through quantum law there will be a tipping point, friends. This is why it is imperative for us to put down distractions, put down the things that are distracting you, because they're there for a reason. That's a very fourth dimensional space, conspiracies, all of this stuff. Put it down and make your ascension top priority, because this is what's going to happen, folks. When you embody more light, when you embody God, source, all that is, when you are in that embodiment, there's going to be a tipping point on this planet when enough of us have reached this level of light by our embodiment process, that there will be a tipping point and beings will start to wake up at an accelerated rate, and they will not have to go through the shit we went through to get where we are today. This is an act of service. Embodiment and awakening and ascension is an act of service, not just for your own path, but for all of creation. Because this is not just Gaia's ascension, people, angels, souls, beauties out there listening. This is not just Gaia's ascension. This is all of creation, because what happens on Gaia is a domino effect throughout it all. Okay, do you see how powerful that is?
Wow. Yeah. Wow. It is powerful. It is extremely powerful. I'm at loss for words, because I'm feeling what you're saying. Yes. So that's amazing. So it's going to keep on happening. And of course, we are ascending with the Earth, and the Earth is ascending with us, and then the other galaxies with everyone else. I have seen on your, it's amazing. It's just like, sometimes you can't even put it into words, because I know, and the people listening to us too, they're very tuned in. And I know they're feeling you, because I'm feeling you, and I'm like, I don't even want to speak anymore. And we're on a radio show. Here. And I'm like in my feeling space. Ta-da! So that's amazing, though. It's all good. It comes to telepathy, and we start really vibrating and connecting with people. And some of us are isolating, others, like, everybody's doing whatever they need to do to get through this. And I know you're right. I know our troops on planet Earth are very powerful beings. I know we're very, how should I say, people have gifts. Like, I've met so many people lately that have amazing gifts. And then, of course, sometimes you get stuck in third or fourth vibration, and it's important who you surround yourself with. Like me, I will listen to your video at least once or twice a week, just to kind of get back to Like the
Thank
reality. Yeah, thank you. No, they're amazing. Like I remember that one time, what language were you speaking? Was like I've spoken that language. I don't know the name of it, but like what do people call it? Galactic language, light language?
The light language?
Yeah. And you were
Light language. Yeah.
yes, and you were speaking it, and I was like feeling activated from the tips of my toes all the way up to my hair and my skull. I was like, okay, this is cool. Amazing.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Light language is a multi-dimensional language that will bypass your human intellect and ego. And it's intelligent. It's very intelligent. So it'll go to exactly what your soul needs, what your physical body needs, healing or restoration, whatever it is, it'll go right to where you need assistance. It's very intelligent, but obviously you've got to be open to receive that, right? So, and that's why you feel it. And our heart centers, our open heart chakras really speak that fluently. It's a heart space transmission. Yeah.
I remember 10 years ago, and like you said, we didn't have these sources online. We didn't have these outlets that are now here, which you said exactly right, for us all to awaken and make it easier on all of us.
Yeah.
I can't wait to that, and I know you're right. I can't wait till that tipping point finally reaches. I mean, it has become so much better. Like I remember, when I was younger, it was like not like this, and now it's starting to boom, into the stratosphere, and it's amazing. I can't wait to see where we're going. But it does make sense when you say that the next step is receiving our brothers and sisters from the galaxies, not being afraid of them. Because I know a lot of us have had contact. Have you had contact by any chance, or?
Yeah. So I've had physical and telepathic, and it's always been since I was a kid. I've always had kind of this galactic theme weaved out through my childhood. But I was raised Catholic and was really obsessed with like scary movies as a kid. So my conditioning made me perceive it through the lens of fear versus love. Right.
That's important. That's important.
Yeah.
What you perceive it through. And I know you talk about vibration, and you said something. You said vibration is a sum of what you're thinking and being. So that same lens, we have to be careful what lens we're perceiving things through, right?
Absolutely, because you can change your perception, guys. But perception is actually influenced by your biology. Perception is influenced by your genes, your DNA, right? Which is handed down by who? Yeah, ancestors, okay? So this is why we got to stay conscious and present as the nonlinear presence, so you can realize, oh my God, I'm perceiving through the lens of Black right now. I'm perceiving through the lens of Mom right now. I'm perceiving through the lens of so-and-so right now. That's not even my lens, And so that's why we got to clear our space. We really got to clear our field and empty ourselves. So we're that literally crystal clear conduit, so that the higher dimensions can flow through us. The higher dimensions are you. The galactics are us. I don't want to separate that. You're a multidimensional being. So when you're connecting with your galactics, they're you. They're just in a different time space, in a different space of consciousness. You see? And so it seems like it's separate, but that's a perception, not separate.
So you would say, okay, location, eternal now, right? So we got the location now.
Right.
Eternal now with everything, happening, which is cool, instead of being in the little three-dimensional space, which limits us, which makes us die and rebirth and all this. And, it focuses really on the machine instead of the person driving it, right? And then, it's amazing. Like you're talking about so much, and so much is coming to my mind. It's amazing. It almost feels like a human blockchain, all these slides that are, and I can only imagine the vibration is going to feel different on Earth. Hopefully, the star beings will feel more comfortable showing themselves. I mean, do you see that this whole government is collapsing, or how do you see we're leaving the third dimension? Where is it going? Like, are they going to just transform as well, or?
Everything's going to transform, but it starts with us. That's the thing, is we think the government or something outside, nothing's going to change until we change our energy. So we have to understand this on the collective scale. This is why it's time for star seeds to not be a seed. It's time to sprout and to be a being. So this is a time for us to just talk about it, to do this. It's a time to be. It's a time to display. It's time to teach others our wisdom of our souls. This is not the time to play small. This is not the time to, stay in our little spiritual closets. This really is a time to just come out and dive all into love and to share with people that this is not, an analytical, logical thing. This is about us really embodying the frequency. This is why I call us grid keepers. Grid keepers. You're holding a matrix in your body. Every one of us is a walking grid point. It's a walking matrix. It's either the matrix is either conscious or an unconscious matrix. But as long as you're in a physical body avatar, you're running on an algorithm or a pattern. However, what we are doing with retraining our physical body avatars to hold source, to hold our fine-tuned, purified consciousness, is we're rewriting this beautiful body into patterns of perfection. We rewrite the bodies into patterns of perfection through thoughts, through emotions, through intentions, imaginations, and our actions. That's how we weave the new earth realm into this physical space here. So it's basically us doing and being what we want to see right here, right now. So that waiting game, that's density. Waiting is density. So know this. Waiting is 3D, 4D. Waiting, the waiting game. This is when we just get up, we put out our angel wings, we straighten our halos, and it's time to get to work. And work is opening the heart and really being the frequency we want to see in this world. That is the work we do. It's not so much laboring in the external. It's broadcasting the light of God through our physical body avatars. That is what's going to split atoms and shift this planet. Not so much rally, protesting, voting, beautiful things, but voting does nothing if the collective hasn't changed their energy.
Wow. That, amen. That's true. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. This is the new awakening. No,
yes.
You're right.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm like speechless. This is the awakening. This is
the new awakening. These are the new paradigms of light that many starseeds are here to anchor. So we take these old school teachings, which God bless the way showers before us. Thank God they are here. They lay down the path for us. But now as starseeds and star beings, we take the torch and we carry on. Just like in school, when you're in third grade, you don't take what you learned in third grade and you're studying that in your junior year of college. Consciousness expands, which means we are on the leading edge of consciousness, which means we are the ones that are going to be creating the new paradigms of light. And it's not even creating, we're allowing and surrendering to that which has already been created. The New Earth grid system and platform was birthed on 12-12-12. She already exists as a holographic template. What we are doing with our physical bodies is we are raising the vibration so that holographic template can be projected through the physical body avatar, and we have a perceived, key underline perceived, new reality, but the reality has always been here. Our bodies are just not a vibrational match to perceive that. However, some of us are already perceiving the new earth realms, or the beginning stages, if you will, and some of us are still living in hell. It is just your state of consciousness. Does this make sense?
It does. It does. It does. It's a lot to take in, and it's a lot to process. You're totally speaking my language, especially since, I'm not sure how old you are. I was like here way back when people like you didn't exist. And I'm so glad I'm so glad you're here. But we will be taking a short break, and we will be right back with Anna Brown. So stay tuned, guys. Many more exciting things to come. Stay tuned.
And now, your emissary to planet Earth, the host of our reality, Violeta Frankovic.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our reality. Today we're talking with an amazing soul, a special guest, an Ascension way shower, Anna Brown. Anna has been kind enough to share her beautiful spirit with us. And we've been talking during the break about how many of us, I had told her I'm 10 years older than her. And I had told her that and I was called to travel to certain locations on the planet and just be present there, be present and vibe. And what she said regarding us being a matrix or carrying a matrix inside us, or these codes, it would make sense why, you have to travel to certain grid points on Earth and just be there, just be present, Anna, right? What do you get from that? Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, because one, like I was saying, we're grid keepers. So you're holding a grid, and that grid is your consciousness. Think of it this way. Think of dimensions as state of consciousness. Okay. So a lot of times we think like, what can I do? How can I change this world? But it's through your presence. So like you were saying, you traveled and you were guided to just be. Because here's the thing, guys, and this is real. When your heart opens, when your heart chakra is open, literally, you start to broadcast light codes. Okay, these light codes are just emanating out of you. So you're like a walking Wi-Fi tower for the new Earth grid. It's really, really cool. You don't have to open your mouth. You don't have to suggest people books. You don't have to tell them they're doing stuff and doing anything wrong. You just got to walk around with your open heart, be in your true self with the capital S, and you're snapping molecules in half, right? You're shifting matter just by your presence alone. It's very powerful.
And that makes sense. And that's like what you said in the beginning with, masters like Jesus or awakened masters had, and now it's happening worldwide. And it really speaks to me when you say to our brothers and sisters out there to get out of our spiritual closet, because, depending on what age we are, I feel like we're going through this process over and over again, and it's layer through layer through layer. Like I remember for me, 6 years old, it was 1986 back then. Nobody seemed to be awake, at least. And then you grow up, and I got those same transmissions, like you just said, we're just going to be present and bring the light and just be like a radio transmitter into the universe. And then it seems like more people awakened, and they went through the exact same pattern that, I had to follow. And then there's going to be in future people awakening, and they're going to be, but it seems like the pattern's getting less and less because we're awakening. So whatever, like you said, the work that we need to do, it's already half of it is done. Now we're in the present where people like you are here and they're talking about it. And these new kids, like these kids that are coming, I mean, they're so highly advanced many times. They blow me out of the water. Have you noticed that? The kids?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have a little one. She's 4. Her name is Luna. And she's like so tapped, and she channels. She'll like literally read your mind. I'm like, oh my God, that was crazy. Like I will think I want this beverage, and she is like, I'll turn around and it's there. I didn't even say anything. I'm like, how did you know this? Like she's just so tuned in. Like, and she's done this for many things. Like she can just read your field really well. And she's channeled things to me before. And I'm like, okay, wow. So yeah, it's like all these kiddos coming in, especially if you're listening to this, you're raising a star baby, you're raising a star seed, and they're coming in lighter and more activated than we are. Like, we were saying during commercial break, like each generation is just more advanced and more intelligent and more holding more light quotient. Right. And that's what we're going to continue to see as we embody more light. And you see how it's like this evolution of like each new generation coming in as a little lighter and a little lighter and a little lighter to eventually there's not going to be any of that unconsciousness we have to clear out, right? We won't have to go through all of this process anymore. Yeah.
So what do you think of, because here's the thing for me, that sounds great. That sounds amazing. And then I have all these, books that I read sometimes. Well, we talked about certain kind of books like by Barbara Marciniak, The Bringers of the New Dawn and Palladians, and how much we enjoyed that. And I did too. And Dolores Cannon, she's another big one, amazing. And then we have the religious books. How do we move away from that, or incorporate, not wanting to betray God or something, that is, and incorporate all this that's coming? Because that's one thing that has been present for me. I'm like reading these books. I want to have all the respect for them, but then at the same time, I'm experiencing more. So it's like, okay, how do you see all that?
Right. So for me, I still will flip through the Bible and I'll read passages of the New Testament. I was raised Catholic, and I have deep respect. A lot of it's a roadmap for the Ascension. The New Testament's a roadmap for the Ascension. You just got to be able to decode it because it's all esoteric and in parables, right? So it's understanding that, we'll just take the Bible, for example, the New Testament, Jesus, what he was talking about, it was just translated completely wrong because it was translated by man. So it's understanding you can still look at these texts. Like last night, I was reading the Bhagavad Gita before bed. We can still read these ancient texts. We're just coming from a higher state of consciousness, and we understand that we take everything with a grain of salt, and we understand if it doesn't resonate, it's not for me in that now. But it could be for somebody else, right? Because each of us are going to need to read the books or watch whatever video or be with whatever teacher we need to be with to help us awaken into our hearts, right? And who's to judge that? Yeah.
No, you're right. You just answered it for me because, Yeah, you're right. It's all about the lens and the perception and where we're coming from. And another thing I was going to ask you, when you were speaking about this whole awakening, in the Bhagavad Gita, it does mention 1,000 years of golden age, right? Because we are in the Kali Yuga currently. But does it seem to you that, okay, this is it? This is going to be the 1,000 years, so it's going to be forever, this awakening?
I don't like to take numbers, or like when people say like this time frame or it's going to be this many years, I'm just like, because then we're going back into density. Then we're going into like a probability or whatever. So it's like, I like to keep things open and not put a time frame on it, but bring it all into the now. Just bring it all into the now. Because here's the thing. It's like, it's not going to be overnight we're all vegans. It's not going to be overnight we're all walking on water and we're all Christed. This is going to be an unfolding of linear time. So we've got to be patient with ourselves. However, there's people who are on the leading edge of this ascension that are really here to shift the genetic code of the human species. Okay. So this is us taking responsibility and understanding we're like master geneticists. We just have to understand how to shift this. We have to understand we're the gods of our own experience, and that our DNA and our cells are responding to us in every moment, to every thought, to every emotion, to every action. The DNA is either coiling and staying in a lower dimensional expression, or it's evolving and ascending into a higher dimensional expression. Okay, so once we understand, oh my God, I'm God of my multiverse within, we start paying attention. Because once we start paying attention, we get out of the subconscious where all those ooky spookies and all the density is. And then we start really understanding, oh my gosh, I got to focus. I got to realize where I'm placing my energy. I need to love myself. Because a lot of this journey is self-love. It's loving yourself awake. It's loving yourself so much that you're not going to allow fear to drive your world anymore. Because you, my friend, all of us, everyone listening to this call, you're a micro of the macro. You're a mini replica of everything. So you're connected to all that is. And truly, we're all connected through the human heart grid. So when you love your heart, when you compliment yourself, when you support yourself in times of stress or valleys, you're complimenting and loving all of humanity, for we are one. And this is why it is imperative that when you ascend, it's affecting all of us because we're all connected. When you make that little transcendent moment, when you drop that negative habit or drop that negative thought form, you're lightening the load for all that is. It's imperative to know we're all connected. We're collective. Yeah.
Wow. That does make sense. Yes. Completely. Yes. You just, had me visualize again. Yeah, it's true. We're all connected and we're all feeling this, and we're all ascending together. So we're seeing people online and they talk about veganism and how important it is, to be vegan. And just, or I heard a lady, she was talking about fasting, and she said how amazing it is not to numb herself with food anymore, and how, she's receiving so much more light. And it seems like all these habits that, we can change on the daily that will take us there. And then, right? So
it's exactly right. It's just, it's like, don't look at the whole big picture. Start small. It starts with you. Right? So it just notice the little things. Notice even the little negative thought form you got going on there, that little habit or that little saying you say all the time, or like, oh, that's stupid, or even stuff like that. It's like, notice your inner dialogue. Notice without judgment, though. Yeah.
That makes sense. So when we talk about dimensions, can you explain to me what the fifth dimension is? Is it already here? Are some people in it? Some are not? What's going on in regards to that?
Yeah, dimensions are states of consciousness. That's it. So yes, I'm in my own dimension right now, and you're in your dimension. And whoever's listening in, they're in their own dimensions. But we're all sharing the same space, you see? But we're all in our own dimensions. This is multidimensionality. We're living on a multidimensional Gaia or Earth, meaning some people are already living in these high vibe spaces, while others are living and going through really deep, dark, karmic experiences. But we're on the same planet. You see? So dimensions simply are just states of consciousness. Where are you vibrating? Where are you vibrating? Where are you focused right now? It's just a state of consciousness. But when you open your heart center, oh yeah, you betcha, you get access to a higher perspective and a higher state of consciousness, one that's rooted in divine love, divine will, and unity consciousness. That is our true state, friends. Separation is not. That's why it feels like crap, okay? And through the ascension process, we have what we call detox, or the purging, or the dark night of the soul. It's because you're remembering who you're awakening to, who you truly are, which can be painful, but who you really are is purity, it's love, it's selfless service, it's abundance, it's unity and wholeness. And that's only found through your heart. That's only found within.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. When you say abundance, I no longer think of wealth. When you say abundance, I think of positive energy.
Yeah.
I feel
Because it's
like
easy to think it's money.
I know. When people say abundance, I used to think of Ferrari, and now you say abundance, I'm like light, kind people around me, the flowers smelling and growing better because we're vibing higher, and all this.
Amen, sister.
Yeah. So it's like these communities that are sprouting. I know the permaculture is big, and these communities that are sprouting all over, and it sounds like, you just want to be one with nature, and away from everything else. Do you feel that sometimes?
Yeah, and that's really the fifth dimension is you're connected to all that is again. So you're connecting with the kingdoms and the elements, and everything's interactive and alive. The birds come to play with you and talk to you. The trees are communicating. Everything's a live, living organism that's bouncing off of each other because it's everything's awake. Everything's awake. So in the fifth dimension, we understand. It's kind of like the golden rule of Jesus, right? Treat others how you want to be treated. Do unto others what you would want done to you. It's this golden rule of understanding. Oh my God, all is the divine, all is God. So of course I'm going to treat you with respect. It doesn't mean we're all going to have the same likes and interests, and we're all going to hang out and be like this like robotic machine. That's not unity consciousness. We're unique still. We're unique conduits for Christ. And I know some people think, oh God, she keeps saying Christ. Why does she keep saying Christ? Christ or crystalline consciousness or unity consciousness, if you don't like that. But my friends, we just drop the dogma and realize that Christ is who we all are. That's our natural organic state. Being human is an experience. Our natural state is the Christ. Being a human is experience.
Oh, wow.
We're flipping the script here, right?
That's profound. That's true, though. You're right. You're absolutely right. Like, I'm going through my own awakening. You're teaching me a lot. Thank you for that. And you're really like opening, pathways that have been closed for me personally for a while now, because, I went through the awakening stage, and maybe it has happened to some of our listeners. Went through the awakening stage, found nobody inside, thought I was not normal, went back into the closet. Now I'm reawakening through people like you. And thank you for that. That's very important work, because we all just need to be and do our part and be happy on earth and be conduits of light in order for this mission to be complete and go home happy. And, hopefully look back on earth and just see that we've left such a beautiful imprint of light and, and anchored it, I guess, right? And
and I'll tell you what. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say I'll probably come back around just when it's new Earth is fully stabilized and we're in the golden age and everyone's in their radiance and knows who they are. I'm totally going to reincarnate and come reap the rewards and the fruit of our labor, right? I'm going to have to do another circle around.
That's beautiful. I like that because when you say that, I imagine those. I've been through all the religions, Jehovah's Witnesses, everybody and everything is a part of your experience. But on the Jehovah's Witnesses covers, you have all these, beautiful, like paradise looking things. And when you say golden age, that's what I envision, like walking side by side with a lion, and the snake is your friend. And you just,
Absolutely. And I'll tell you this, I had a dream just the other night, this New Earth travel dream where I was sitting outside under a tree, and it was dusk, and all these animals, a hare and an owl and all these critters start coming to me like I was Snow White. And I just got this energy of the new Earth and the intelligence coming off of these animals. It was so conscious. This is the new Earth, the realms where the lion lays with the lamb, where there's no animals devouring each other for life force. We understand that light is our life force. Now, this is going to take, again, some linear time, because we're not going to just go boom to eating light and be a breatharian. But this is real. The lion laying with the lamb is a real dimension, friends. And the more of us that are imagining that and we're calling that forth, it's going to be a reality. And it may not be one that we see in this lifetime, but it's going to be for future generations. Okay, so we have to think of this for other souls who are going to come through and have this experience on Gaia. This is selfless service. We're anchoring in the golden age for souls to have an amazing Christed experience, a Christed planet. That's the destiny of Gaia.
That's beautiful. And I think our animals deserve that, because, being born here, and I'm just envisioning, and then we're eating animals. Not that I'm completely vegan. I'm not going to be like, I'm a hypocrite totally. I know what I need to do. So
it's all good.
Yeah, I gotta be self-conscious of everything, right? But yeah. So, but at the same time, I had the consciousness all along, and I'm like, okay, I'm eating this poor animal right now, and it's just lost. It's like, all these consciousness started awakening. I remember dreaming, like I remember eating beef one time, and I was dreaming of a mother cow and its calf, and I woke up disgusted by myself, and I was like, oh, yeah, I was like, wow, consciousness is coming through. Stop eating that, So it's like sometimes fear. I want to talk about fear just a little bit. Not that I want to give it power, but I feel like fear is so fear of the unknown, fear of changing the routine, fear of not doing what we were passed on to do, because we're good people if we do what everybody has done, right? That's the whole, I mean, that's not the truth, but that's the whole thing. We're good people, and we're not good people if we're doing something new. How do you feel? How do we overcome all that conditioning?
Yeah. So guys, fear to me is a shackle. Fear is, now there's good fear. Let's say like you're about to step off a cliff. Your body's going to tell you, hey, back up. There's a huge ledge there. So that's a natural response to, let's say, like an external threat, like a cheetah, or you're about to fall or something. But when you have fear and you're just sitting on your couch, or, you're about to make a post on Instagram or something like that, that's not like a external threat that you really should be worried about. That's a condition. That's an unconscious condition, right? So we have to look at that like, oh my God, why am I in fear right now? Really investigate that, because fear is a shackle, and we all have to work through this. We all have to step through fear. Even if you're inspired to take action or follow your destiny, or you're like, oh my God, I'm so excited, my intuition's calling me to do this, but there's still fear arising. No big deal. You're going to move through fear each time you step into a new paradigm of existence. As long as you're in a physical body form, you're going to shed, right? And it's a little uncomfortable when you shed and you step into a new paradigm. I like to associate stepping into a new, like a timeline or dimension, kind of like a baby being born into the world, or kind of getting used to the energy, the new level of consciousness. Like, how does this work? It's kind of weird, right? So just know that kind of arises when you're about to break through into like a new energetic imprint of yourself, or you're about to step into a new way of being. You just have to look at the fear and say, I love you, I bless you, and I thank you for this lesson, but my destiny's calling and I'm going. You know what I mean? So it's like you still feel it, but you just love yourself and you love life too much that you're not going to play small anymore, guys. I get fear that arises. I have stuff that comes up, but I literally say, no, not this lifetime, not this timeline. I'm not cowering anymore. Because again, many of you chiming in here, we've been light workers in other realities where we were chastised or murdered or whatever, right? For standing for the light. And you feel that in this timeline because everything exists in the now. Your DNA remembers being tortured or whatever. So that can keep you playing small because you're afraid, okay, if I come out, I may get decapitated or chastised or cast out of the tribe. But we're not living in that time anymore, so we can't blame past lives anymore. We can't even blame parallel because they're the same thing. You really just have to look at fear and say, I love you, I bless you, I thank you, but I'm going to move through this. It's really just a choice. You really just send it love and gratitude, and that tends to dissipate it, right? Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you just got to walk through it, but you just realize it's an energy, and on the other side of fear is love.
Yeah, you're right, because what we struggle against persists, right? It's true. You're so right. You just helped me too, because I will be in fear sometimes too, like you said, and we all have to go through it at some point, and we become better and better and just moving past it. I read this interesting thing. It's a 5-second rule. It's by Mel Robbins. She wrote this book. So she said, whatever you're trying to do, and all of a sudden you feel a block. And then she goes, count down from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, reset, right? And for some reason that 5-second rule gives the brain some kind of signal, and you can literally feel it, or we say Control Alt Delete, right?
Yeah.
We're moving past because it's a choice. We could choose to stay in fear and or like quote unquote safety, because it's not really safe. Or we choose to, like you said, this is so important what you said, I feel, to make friends with it and say, I thank you for your service. Thank you for, and And that feels good. That doesn't feel anymore like we're struggling. It feels like we're accepting and moving on, right?
Right. Because it's just training you. It's training you to step into your embodiment. It's training you to step into your empowerment, into your love, right? Because it's all initiations. I like to see fear as an initiation. Do you really believe you're the light? Do you really know yourself as God? Do you really know yourself as that? And that's when you are tested. Like even in the Bible, they talk about this testing or this initiation. It's like your adversary is your own consciousness. Your own unconsciousness is the adversary, right? And so you're realizing, oh my God, I'm just fighting with myself, Jesus. The duality is within. And so, you just realize, oh my God, it's just me and me. We're fighting against you. Okay. And so you're unifying all of that. And so if we are, I know I'm going out here with this unity consciousness, but if you are the Son of God, if you believe yourself to be that, if you know yourself as Christ or that second coming, we know then that you don't fight with the darkness. You know that it's something that you're the sun. It just envelops it and it transmutes it into the light itself. It's like when you are in that radiance, when you're in that your essence, like anything that comes into your space will just be enveloped by love, pure love. When you're there in that space of pure consciousness and love, it gets enveloped. And so you can call density forth, which I do sometimes in meditation. I'll be like, tell the emotions that are ready to come up, to get out of the way, to get, shifting, to come up. And then I just envelop it with gratitude, love, and appreciation and forgiveness. And then that transmutes it. It's like, let's do this. Let's just move this energy out. Because most of the time we're just scared. We're scared of the fear. Or we're scared of the trauma. Yeah.
Yes, totally. You're right. Scared of the fear, scared of the trauma. You're right. That's amazing. And I want to say, because we're almost at the end of our show, you've brought such amazing info forward, and I'm still processing it. How can we find you? You're on Instagram at Anna, ANNAE Brown 7. Are you on YouTube?
I am on YouTube. Yes. It's Anna E. Brown. Sorry, youtube.com/Anna Brown 7.
Awesome. So, my dear, I want to thank you again. We're at the end of the show, but I'm so happy we had you. You really, really shared great information. There will be archives of this, so I will re-listen and people can re-listen. Thank you, beautiful sister of light. I am so happy you were here. Thank you for blessing us.
Oh, thank you so much, Violetta. And thank you so much for all the angels joining in. I love you. I bless you. And I thank you for all the service you're doing for humanity. Thank you.
Yes. Amen. Thank you, dear. Our dear listeners, will be back next week. And until then, stay safe. Re-listen to this because it's really important info Anna shared. Stay blessed. And we will talk next week. Goodbye, everyone. Have a beautiful week.
You've been listening to Our Reality, hosted by Violetta Frankovic. Live every Saturday from the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. For more information on the host as well as the show, as well as upcoming guests, please check out our reality show page at kcorradio.com.
Our reality.
From the ordinary to the extraordinary, we've got you covered. Our Reality, changing the world, one topic at a time. This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.